Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online video with me, Sherman. Wow. So I just completed the year-long event, the Gates of Oblivion. I played through Blackwood, I played two of the dungeons solo on the PTS before they were even live. And I played through the other two, kind of. Like, I tried soloing them, didn't make it very far, but I got to experience most of the story. And I played through Deadlands. I'm not going to ruin the story for anyone. All I can say is, wow. Like, hands down, wow. And I'm going to do like a little mini review here. So let's start off with Blackwood. The Blackwood storyline was, I wouldn't say it was great, but the overarching aspect of it was really good. The side quests, how they played into the main story, how the dungeons fit into that main story, and then how the two other dungeons played into the Deadlands story, or kind of in between. I think they did a really good job with the overarching story. But Deadlands was by far the best DLC ever released for the game. Now, I won't say like chapter, because there's been, out of the chapters that we have, Somerset, Morrowind, Greymoor, Elsewhere, and Blackwood, they're all really good. And then if you include Craglorn and Orsinium, like all of those chapter kind of things are really, really good, done, well done. They have great stories. I mean, Orsinium is where you meet Everly Sharparrow, who you play with in the Blackwood chapter, and even in the DLC, Deadlands. This time around, it felt like everything was part of one cohesive story. Like the Elsewhere stuff and the Greymoor stuff, like the dungeons felt like side quests to the main story, but they still pertain to the main story, but not like this. This felt like everything was connected. And I would say it's some of their best work to date. Like I said, story-wise, like the flow of it, Blackwood felt like it was broken in parts, but in the end it told the full story. And I think the reason why it felt broken is because of how they had the placement of side quests in Blackwood. Like, you would experience a chunk of story and then run across like 3 or 4 side quests, and those would lead you down these other paths to these other storylines that would make you kind of forget the main story. But they were all really well done. Getting the two companions and the story of how you get them and how they join you is really well done also. But Deadlands, man, the amount of detail they put into that, in the environment art, and they put into the story, and how it doesn't just take place in the Deadlands, is fantastic. And if you haven't had a chance to play the Deadlands story, play it. Like, play through Blackwood, because you're going to need that to play into this. And I think you have to beat Blackwood anyways to get the full story of Deadlands. So the combination's there, and it's really well done. I would say in comparison, this is on par, if not better, than Elsewhere. Like, Elsewhere, I think hands down was their best chapter, dungeons, and DLC connected storyline they've done. Greymoor, it was cool to go back to Solitude from Skyrim. It was cool to experience that area from Skyrim in an earlier setting. And the fact that it dealt with the vampires and all that kind of stuff, it was really cool. And it was really well done. but it didn't have the amount of, like, I think, passion as this did. And I can understand why. Like, Rich Lambert, he was there for Oblivion. He started with it, and and you can feel that passion in this. Like, this was a great story, and the coolest part about it was it made it feel like you were on an adventure. It didn't feel like, like when you play through the main campaigns, the main storylines in the base game, where you're traveling through the different faction lands. Like, it didn't feel like that, where it leads to this massive battle with Molag Bal, because you run across the villain, Mehrunes Dagon, throughout the story, and it's just really cool how they put it all together. And I can't say it enough. Like, thank you for giving this old adventurer something like this to experience. And the fact that it does play into the Oblivion story so well in explaining that, it's almost like, what? Like, it's that good. Yeah, God, I can't explain it. Like, it was really good. But let's talk a little bit more about Blackwood. So, Blackwood, great world bosses, by the way. I haven't defeated all of them or any of them, because I was more interested in playing the story. So I'm going to go back and do that. But I'm not going to do it with this character. And I'll explain that in a minute. And I still have this farm I have to find and whatever. So I got to go find that as well. So that'll be kind of cool. But out of the content here, the delves, all of them were amazing. All the public dungeons, the public dungeon, I should say, and, well, two, were really well done. And they're great areas. Well, one is definitely a better farming area than the other, like this one. The Zenithar's Abbey is a great one for farming. This one, I wouldn't say it's a great one for farming, but it's a good one to run several times to get, like, all the bosses, get all the, like, if you want the sets from this area, it's really good for that. Crafting sets are the crafting areas, and the craftable sets in both the DLC and the chapter, amazing. Like, really good sets. And I've actually looked into using those sets, and now I'm more excited about it. The Overland drop sets are pretty good in Blackwood. I wouldn't say they're great. I mean, it would depend on what build you're playing or what you're going for in your build. They can be really good. So yeah, really, overall, really good. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail, like I said in the story, but Deadlands, holy cow. Like, it doesn't look like there's a lot here, because a lot of it is broken between this and Fargrave. And in Fargrave, you have two areas, You have, like, the main city, the Fargrave City District, and you have the Shambles. The Shambles are like the slums, and I really love how the stories, the different stories play into that area, and the different characters you meet. And I have to say that. So, story-wise, amazing. Characters you meet along the way on the journey are fantastic. Evely Sharparrow is amazing anyways. And that was great. The other characters you meet, I'm not going to mention names, but there's one in particular that when you meet, you'll know what I'm talking about. He has the coolest personality of any character written, and fits into the story in a way that you can't explain because of his small stature and his overbearingness that he has for the adventure. It's just fantastic. And yeah, and you meet him in the Deadlands DLC. He's just a great character overall. And I wish they would have made him a companion. That's all I can say. Because I think him as a companion would have been fantastic. I would have traveled with him all the time. As for, like I said, the dungeons were good. Really good. In fact, some were better, like the layouts and the part, like the things to them were really good. Like, especially this one here, in the Black Drake Villa was fantastic. Great layout, great boss encounters, great story altogether. I don't remember where the other ones are. I know this is one of them from the second, I think, part, the Dead Cellar. I think this is one of the second dungeons, and it's really good as well. But I don't think this had the heart that the Black Drake did. This was really good, though. I still like the story of it, and I love the layout of it. The other two had really good stories and good layouts and boss encounter mechanics and stuff, but when it came to all of them, like, Black Drake was easily soloable, but the second one that came with it wasn't. And the same thing with the other two. One was really easily soloable, and the other wasn't. And I've noticed this routine. Like, one dungeon's really easy, even as with a group, and one's kind of more difficult with a group. And I love how they do that. I love that they give you that, that difficulty. But yeah, just amazing story, amazing writing. It did, like I said, it made you feel like you were on an epic adventure. And the best way I can describe it is if you've ever played D&D and you played the 5th edition, they came out with this thing called Descent into Averness, which was a storyline that takes you into the realms of hell, basically, in the D&D world. And you wind up dealing with demons and all kinds of stuff. It felt like that. And it felt like the people who built it weren't just fans of the storyline, but were also trying to make the story fit within the lore of Elder Scrolls. And even though it's like Elder Scrolls, the MMO is set in a time that there isn't a lot of lore and history from that period, it's those experiences, it's those stories. This is something I will remember, like Oblivion itself. It's something I will remember. It's like Morrowind, it's like Oblivion, it's like Skyrim. It's stories you will remember. And having a companion along wasn't so bad, even though I will admit I couldn't keep my companion alive very well. He kept dying, but he was a low-level character, like adventurer joining me, and I had Bastion with me. So Bastion's a cool companion you meet. He's more like a holy knight than he is anything else. And then Miri's more like a cocky thief. I mean, that's the best way I can explain it. They're both really good characters. They have really well written like lines and everything. I never unlocked their extra stuff because I didn't play them long enough, but I do plan on playing with them with other characters. And that brings me to the end of this video. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, wait, what? And I want to be clear on this. I am not retiring. I'm retiring my character. This character's been with me since the beginning. I've played them for 6 years solid. And I can tell you, she's done enough in the world. It's time for me to move on to somebody else as my main character. And she's going to retire for now until the next big storyline comes out, and I'll play her through that. But I'm basically retiring my main character, Elysia Windrunner. So she's been a great character to play. I've kind of created this own personification for her. I've played her the way that I've wanted to play her this whole time. I never let anybody deter me from the way I play my characters. And she's gone through hell and back again. And like I said, it's just time to move on to somebody else that I can experience the story with, experience all the great adventures they have built, but with somebody different. And you guys don't realize what this means to somebody like me who's a role player. It's almost like giving up your best friend, when you play a character for so long and you move on to somebody else, it's like you feel like they've done enough. I played this character. This was my first level 50 character. This was my first character to ever do a majority of the dungeons in the game, and what got me started raiding, doing trials. So it is. It's just something you don't want to part with. But it's not that I'm gonna quit playing her. I'm just retiring her for now, so I can move on to other characters. I mean, come on. I have 13 character slots. I have 11 filled. I have characters I need to work on. I can't just play her all the time, even though I love to. But I need to move on. So, thank you for the great adventure so far, but it is time to move on. No, I'm not leaving the game. Like I said, I'm just going to move on to a different character and start playing them as my main. So, I haven't chosen which of the 13 that will be. It might even be my new Dread Cleric character. I might make them my main character because I'm really enjoying that playstyle, and it's a lot of fun. And it doesn't remind me of playing my Templar, who started out as a Knight of Meridia and became a Knights Templar basically, and then became some dual wielding, bow carrying, warrior of light. But yeah, it's just time to retire. So she's at her favorite place, the Citric Villa. This is actually the one house I use the most in the game. And not for parsing on dummies, even though I have a few lying around. It's primarily because this was, I feel like this was a reward that the community earned as a whole. And it's just someplace I always like. It's just, I love the way it's always bright here, and it's never gloomy or dull or blah. It's just the perfect place to kind of retire a character. And like I said, it's not a permanent retire. It's just I'm going on a break. I need some time to play other characters and stuff like that. And everybody does this. I mean, anyone who's a role player will tell you that it's nice to take a break every once in a while.
Hungry? Oh, it's one I'll never understand, mate. The drive to push plants and animals into your face hole, grind them into paste, and store them in a flesh sack. Yeah.
Yep, I agree. But yeah. And it was really cool to experience the Blackwood chapter with this character as the first character I played through it. I did Elsewhere with a different character. I did, I played through the content first with another character before I played with this one. But I have played this one for 6 years. Like I said, they've been through a lot, and they just need some time to relax and take in the outside world. I'll still farm with them, I'll still craft with them, and stuff like that. But when it comes to questing and story and stuff, I'm going to stick to a different character for now. And like I said, when that character is done with the main story in the next chapter, or whatever is to come next year, which, lots of speculation, let me tell you. This was a story that left a mystery and a lot of speculation for things to come in the future, which I'm going to be doing a video about later this week, where I'm going to talk about speculations of where we're going next, what the story could lead to, and what we could also be getting. Because they showed off a lot of interesting things in this storyline. If you haven't played it, again, like I said, pay close attention to a certain character that joins you. They have a unique skill line that I've never seen in the game. And it would be interesting to see that become something that's part of the game. Also, possibility of a new race, playable, devs. If that's a thing, I'm excited. If it's not, I'm still excited because that was really cool to meet that race. But yeah, I mean, again, like, I can't say it enough. Like, this has been an experience that I will never forget. And that's pretty much it. So, as always with all videos, If you guys like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can subscribe. If you do subscribe, I do suggest you click that notification bell and be notified when I post new videos. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day. And this guy might see you in game. Bye.